indah hazanah alam, diselidik dan dijaga, sumber air terpelihara. Nahri, kau kan unggul di dunia, seiring membangun negara. Quality asas utama, mengorang langkah capai jaya, menyelidik dan membangunkan, berkhidmat penuh kejujuran.
Peluang untuk menubuhkan Institut Penyelidikan Hidrolik Kebangsaan Malaysia atau NAHRIM bermula daripada hasil kajian Ketuan DEF Hidrolik pada tahun 1990. Laporan kajian tersebut memperlakukan penubuhan pusat penyelidikan keupayaan untuk menjalankan kajian simulasi fizikal dan analisis hidrodinamik ataupun numerikal terhadap proses fenomena, morfologi dan ekologi sungai serta pantai yang berkait rapat dengan aktiviti-aktiviti manusia. Institut Penyelidikan Hidrolik Kebangsaan Malaysia (NAHRIM) telah ditubuhkan secara rasmi pada 14 April 1993 selepas keputusan Jemaah Menteri pada 2 Oktober 1991. Bermula 23 September 2020, baru-baru ini, Jemaah Menteri telah meluluskan penjenamaan semula NAHRIM kepada Institut Penyelidikan Air Kebangsaan Malaysia. NAHRIM menjalankan penyelidikan asas dan gunaan, perkhidmatan perlindungan berasaskan kepakaran, penasihat, pusat rujukan kebangsaan dan menjalinkan rangkaian kerjasama dengan organisasi penyelidikan dalam dan luar negara berkaitan dengan air dan persekitarannya. Visi NAHRIM ialah untuk menjadi sebuah pusat rujukan penyelidikan air dan persekitarannya yang terunggul di dunia. Manakala misi NAHRIM meneraju penyelidikan dan pembangunan dalam sektor air untuk memacu ekonomi negara demi kelestarian alam sekitar. NAHRIM amat komited dalam menjalankan R&D dalam bidang air dan persekitarannya, termasuk pantai dan oceanografi serta penyelidikan yang berkaitan dengan perubahan iklim.
Resource air adalah flum 100 meter pelbagai fungsi yang digunakan untuk menjalankan pemodelan fizikal. Tujuan kajian ini dijalankan adalah untuk memahami secara lebih mendalam impak kenaikan aras laut terhadap ban-ban di pesisiran pantai negara.
Okey, di sini kami menggunakan dua perisian. Perisian pertama adalah HR Merlin, iaitu untuk mengawal pedal ombak ini digunakan oleh kami untuk menghasilkan ombak yang diperlukan oleh penyelidik seperti mengawal ketikan ombak, jenis-jenis ombak dan sebagainya. Untuk perisian kedua, kami menggunakan HR Deck di mana ianya mengambil data semasa kajian dilakukan, iaitu ketinggian ombak.
NAHRIM juga amat komited membantu kementerian dan negara dalam menangani isu-isu air semasa selain menyumbang khidmat kepakaran dan konsultansi dalam dan luar negara.
Di hadapan adalah model fizikal bagi takungan ringlet di Cameron Highland. Tujuan kita buat model fizikal ini adalah bagi mengkaji angkutan endapan di dalam takungan ringlet ni. Kajian ini adalah bagi membantu pihak Tenaga Nasional Berhad, iaitu TNB, untuk menghasilkan satu pelan pengurusan endapan tanah di sekitar kolam takungan ringlet ini.
Makmal Kualiti Air NAHRIM adalah makmal berakreditasi ISO 17025. Makmal ini menjalankan analisis kimia dan analisis mikrobiologi.
NAHRIM telah merangka pelan strategik dalam pengurusan R&D sehingga tahun 2030 yang merangkumi 4 agenda utama, iaitu pertama, penyelesaian saintifik, iaitu perubahan iklim, pantai dan oceanografi, pengawasan air masin. Yang kedua, air untuk kehidupan seperti penyakit bawaan air, hakisan dan endapan, taps ataupun takungan air pinggiran sungai, teknologi air dan air alternatif, dan akhir sekali air tebus guna. Ketiga adalah kolaborasi strategik yang merangkumi MOU, kerja-kerja SIPA, kerja-kerja RDIC, latihan sakutan, perundingan dan khidmat nasihat teknikal. Yang keempat ada ISRA, iaitu perjalanan kerjaya pegawai NAHRIM dalam bentuk SME atau Subject Matter Expert dan penerbitan dalam jurnal dan majalah-majalah kaitan. Bagi mengharumnya arus penyelidikan negara, NAHRIM sedang dalam rangka pelan pengukuhan organisasi dengan cadangan Pertama, menambah bilangan penyelidik. Yang kedua, melahirkan subjek matter expert atau pakar dalam bidang tertentu. Yang ketiga, pengkomersialan produk inovasi, contohnya sistem penuaian air hujan atau SPAH. Yang keempat, melahirkan penyelidik yang profesional yang diiktiraf oleh badan-badan profesional dalam dan luar negara. Yang kelima, iaitu yang terakhir, itu menerbitkan jurnal penyelidikan yang berimpak tinggi. Kami juga mempunyai hasrat dan wawasan untuk menjadikan Nahrim menggunakan air 100% daripada hasil penyelidikan kami. InsyaAllah dengan adanya sistem SPAH, air bawah tanah, air atmosfera dan air serbaguna, Nahrim dalam sikit masa lagi tidak akan bergantung pada bekalan air terawat dari air Selangor.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin arrahmanirrahim maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in ihdinas siratal mustaqim siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Okey, selamat sejahtera, selamat datang. Hari ini kita akan adakan satu webinar iaitu Numerical Modelling with Gap Flows, di mana Nahrim bersama di bawah Kementerian Alam Sekitar dan Air bersama Geosphere Environmental Technology Corp menjalankan pendidikan menggunakan Gap Flows. Okay. Next. Kita akan bergerak ke konten. Pertama, introduction to Gap Flows. Kedua, objective dan scope of the study, overview of target area, field data availability, construction of 3D hydrologic model, model performance check, and preparation of sand transport simulation and summary. Okey, berkenaan dengan Gap Flows. Gap Flows adalah general purpose terrestrial fluid flow simulator. Is an integrated numerical simulation system for quantitative evaluation of terrestrial water problems. There is developed by Professor Tosaka Hiroyuki of the University of Tokyo in 1990s. Since 2000, GateFlows has been continuously developed and improved under the company name Geosphere Environmental GATE. So it's already over 600 model studies in various types and scale have been using the simulator up to 2019. What is GateFlows? So GateFlows is a numerical simulation system designed for unraveling the dynamics of the geosphere fluids. It provides quantitative countermeasure to the water problems for decision making. GateFlows was developed to analyze large-scale 3D water circulation and water solute issues were considered as difficult to simulate before. Various types of interaction between surface water and groundwater, water and air, fresh water, salt water can be fully calculated by GateFlows. So these are the typical water cycle. So in static and dynamic environment of geosphere, the GateFlows can be modeled from evaporation, evapotranspiration, and then move into the infiltration, groundwater flow, and then seawater interaction. So for example, water resources problem, water environmental problems, and water-related disasters can be done in GateFlows. For example, the reactive transfer from the surface flow to the groundwater, and then to identify spring from the groundwater, and then for sediment transport and some organic solvent pollution. For water problems, water resources problems, GateFlows can manage surface water resources through rivers, lakes, and dams, manage groundwater resources in basin, manage conjunctive use of surface water and groundwater, prediction of drought and planning countermeasures, water-related disasters, as such as watershed runoff and inundation prediction and making countermeasures, urban inundation prediction and making countermeasures, tsunami and tidal change, slope failures, landslide, ground subsides. And then water environmental problems under climate change, also pollution by solutes, NAPLs, radioactive nuclides, change in water environment in urbanized area, heated urban environment, waste disposal problems. Okay, application fields of GateFlows. Okay, GateFlows can be managed in regional water management, where it can comprehend water resources, water hazard, and water environment together. Okay, previous GateFlows application in water resources management, integrated watershed analysis application using evaluate the dynamics of surface groundwater under precipitation, evaluate the robustness of the supply system of surface water, plan water supply system and hydro facilities location operation, predict and plan countermeasures for big droughts. These are the previous GateFlows applications that have been done in Japan and other countries. For groundwater aquifer management, hydrogeological or hydraulic modeling of groundwater aquifer, plan sustainable development and use of groundwater, design source area management. For water-related disaster, prediction of river runoff, inundation and countermeasure, tsunami invasion simulation can be done, slope failure and evaluation of hazard risks. For environmental problems, pollution problems such as eutrophication by various solutes to rivers and groundwater, effect of artificial facilities to water environment, pollution by NAPL. Okay, NAPL is like petroleum. Okay, waste management, safety evaluation of general industrial waste disposal, studies on high-level radioactive waste disposal. For energy, underground oil and LPG storage facility maintenance, ground heat utilization, urban heat island problem. Okay, And of course, another advantage is can be done in the large scale. Okay, basic scientific and numerical aspect of modeling geosphere by gate flows. Okay, so how to express in the world of geosphere? So gate flows, they are put in layers. Okay, for atmospheric heat input, this is one layer, and then near to surface is another layer. So surface we have fluid heat flow, and groundwater is another layer. Consists of subsurface fluids, solute, and heat flow. So with that, they're regionalizing the geosphere by flow types for region and flow types. Okay, for region, near surface atmospheric boundary layer. For this atmospheric, they use the pressure-driven Stokes type flow. So these are the equation that using. For topographic surface, surface runoff, they're using the Manning type flow diffusion wave. For underground or subsurface, they're using the Darcy type multi-phase flow. Of course, for all the region, these are the parameters that to be input. Firstly, is porosity with compressibility, permeability, capillary pressure, relative permeability. And then if there is any some niche that we want to examine, conditional variables such as gas pressure, air temperature, water temperature, solid temperature, water saturation, gas saturation, naphtha saturation, solute concentration. So basic form of isothermal model, they are using the mass balance in residual form. For velocity flow, as explained before, for surface, they're using the Manning's formula and diffusion wave. For subsurface, they're using the multi-phase Darcy law. For vertical interaction between the surface and subsurface, Prof. Tosaka Sensei had physically corrected multi-phase flow with pseudo capillarity. Okay, so fluid system in gate flows. Okay, as you know, water phase, gas phase, and naphtha phase is like petrol and solid phase. Okay, so it can be done in gate flows and can be compute in gate flows. So multi-phase and multi-component fluid system interaction simulated in each 3D grid plot. So extended option of gate flows from gas flow in atmosphere to surface water flow to subsurface gas water flow, unsaturated flow including saturated flow in confined aquifer, solute transport two-phase multi-component flow, and sand transport in surface river flow, and can be extended to three-phase flow to where water, gases, and naphtha couple flow. Of course, and heat flow. So gate flows cover variety of terrestrial water problems. So gate flow using a tank model. So it will need a grid. So gate flow uses structural grid system in regular mesh or flexible skewed grid system that fitted with river channel and artificial structure. Time transient analysis can be executable in gate flow using 100,000 to 1 million discrete grid blocks for several thousand square kilometers of water circulation region. So GIS and CAD and other utility programs are used to process DEM and related information. So on GIS, we draw 4 lines, boundary lines, and then we identify the main tributaries or main river, and then using the mathematical, we refine it into the refined grid lines. Then the refined grid lines, then we have to check again, and then we can export it into XYZ and to be input as a data input in the gate flows. So visualization of regional hydraulic simulation. As said before, gap flows can be compute and in a big scale. Okay, for example, in Yokohama, Japan, area of 5,800 kilometers squared. The vertical range 4,000 to 4,000 meters. The number of grid blocks is 1 million over grid blocks. Okay, this is Mount Fuji. Okay, this is a hydrogeological structure, topography, and then this is the land use. So this is a view simulated surface and subsurface flow line. Okay. So it's automated, identify and the flow lines, river line. Okay. So as you can see, some of the the next feature. Okay, simulated rail lines. Okay, surface in red, green is groundwater. So from Mount Fuji, there's a lots of groundwater. The green line traveling to the nearby river, the red color. So as you can see, there are some green groundwater outside of the inside the sea. So these are important for the fishermen for seaweed. So this is the best place because the fresh water and the salt water meet together and is very good for seaweed industry. Okay. So watershed study in Kumamoto, Japan is 10 meter DEM. Okay, visualization of simulated surface and subsurface water movement in Kumamoto. Okay, blue lines is the river flow, red lines is the groundwater, and flow in the depth is around 50 to 100 meters. And the area which red lines turn to the blue is indicate groundwater spring point. So this is very important for identify aquifer and whatnot. Okay, and it can be done with gap flows. So this is the dynamic views of flow in Kumamoto. Flows in Kumamoto depicted by numerical model. Okay. Next, we go to examples of large-scale modeling. In large-scale modeling, Tosaka Sensei had already modeled for the Japan, the whole of Japan. For example, Hokkaido, Tohoku, Kinki, Chubu, Kanto, Shikoku, Kyushu. So they are using 1 kilometer and 500 meter resolution is available from JAXA. Japanese astronaut. Okay. So data DM with 10 meter, seabed topography, seamless geological map, one in 20,000, and land use map. Okay. This is the web map for macroscopic flows of Japan island. So here you can see for the surface and groundwater flow lines for the entire of Japan. You can browse into https www.getc.co.jp/webmap. Output of Japan land model. Okay, the Japan land model provides the following output that Sensei have been produced is depth, velocity, flow rate of surface water, water saturation, gas saturation, phase pressure, groundwater velocity, potential distribution of subsurface fluids, maps of recharge area and gushing up area of groundwater, temperatures of surface, subsurface fluids, subsurface salinity distribution in deep zone and coastal area, other process information. So this is one of the example in Hokkaido area. This the blue line is a streamline surface. The red one is a groundwater surface. Groundwater streamline. Sorry. So under the static condition where annual average rainfall is given continuously for a long time period of time, the following flow lines appears on the surface and its subsurface, simultaneously plotted in this picture. Okay, large river lines are correctly reproduced by this 500 meter mesh model. So this is another of example of a map of recharge area and discharge area of groundwater. Can be possible be done using gate flows. So here you can see the bright color represent discharge area of groundwater upward flow, while darker area is a groundwater recharging area. So it can be done. It can be known where's the upward flow and downward flow. The discharge area along the coastal line may represent possible submarine freshwater discharging area. So this is another example of regional scale real-time simulation with 500 meters grid in Kyushu. So there is a precipitation, then this is the water depth. So gate flows is a open source combined operation. Okay, it's not a built-in GUI operation. A built-in GUI operation is like HeadRAS, Mike, and InfoWorks. Okay, so what's the difference? Built-in GUI operation is easiness of data handling. The interface is very simple, interactive. But open source combined operation is coding, is black and white. Okay. Built-in GUI operation also may be quick from open source. Open source, we have to do a bit more of calculation before we can run it. And then the flexibility is more to open source, because normally the built-in GUI you cannot change or amend, or you have to take together all of the parameter. But in open source like GetFlows, if you want to check for sediment transport, it will be run for sediment transport only, and etc. Portability more to open source, because the GetFlows can be run in any OS, Windows, Mac, iOS, or open source like Red Hat and whatnot. Okay. And general applicability is open source because you can do a lot of things and detail out if needed. Okay. Extensibility is open source because if you can find, you can do very niche experiment or research can be changed or modified in open source. And for research purpose, of course, open source is the way to go, because it's most of the program is free. So GetFlows use open software combined operation, operate efficiency with open software in the market. So this is GetFlows is built-in utilities. So GetFlows use advanced 3D graphics in the market, such as ParaView, and ParaView is free. And GetFlow also use a text editor in advanced text editor in market, such as Visual Code by Microsoft, and it is free also. And GetFlows also use graph plotter, advanced graph plotter in the market, such as ngraph, and it is free also. Of course, we use Word, Excel, PowerPoint to do our research and to come up with papers and reports. So basically, this is the environment for GetFlows. So this is the view of GetFlows now running. Okay. So it's all black and white. Okay. Next, I will show you example in Visual Studio Code plus Code Runner. Okay, this is a free software in Microsoft. You can download it. It's a useful general data editing and to show the programming execution and multiple windows. It's a very powerful software for coding. And here we can see the data editing, data looking up, and then to be run to run GetFlows and stop GetFlows and post processing can be done in one software. So you do not to be in front of the computer. You just run it, and you can do other things, and then it will keep running. And simultaneously, it can be run many runtime. It's not like Headrush. You have to wait for that run and then finish, and then you can continue with others. So next we'll go to ParaView 3D viewer. So this is a free also, open source. It's useful for fast visualizing simulation output. So here is the outlet. It's downstream of Sungai Perak. This is a river mouth. So it's not consuming much graphic cards. So it's very friendly to the PC. Okay, and it can be done video whatnot. Okay, this is the upper part. This is a downstream of Cendero to Kampung Gajah mesh. If you cut it in the cross section, you can see the groundwater, and then will go rise up, and then you can see sometimes there is a water in the river. So with this, GetFlows can be visual as detailed as that. Next, we go to the ngraph GTK. This is a real-time plotting. So it's useful for real-time plotting and making scientific graph. While running, the GetFlows will produce result line by line in this green color. So with using ngraph, this is free also. It can be plotted in real time. So monitoring simulation is by Linux commands. Okay. So get flows minimal requirement spec. Okay. It's need 64-bit version. Windows 10 is okay. It's very good. More than 2.4 gigahertz. Of course, now the spec is higher than that. Memory more than 8 gigs. 16 gigs is preferable. Storage at least 10 gig preferable, but it depends on the volume. So the more number of meshes, the more volume that you need. And graphic card is not that high because it's more process using CPU than GPU. And then you need a USB port for the dongle simulator. So get flows can be installed in numbers of computer, but when it need to be run, it has to be run with the dongle. But in one PC that they have a dongle, but it can be run multiple run time in a go. And another good of get flows, it can do parallel computing using HPC. Not many aftermarket or like Headras and can do parallel computing. So it's a very good for time. So next, I will show you some case study that we have done in Nahrim using get flows. So we use it at Sungai Perak River Basin. Integrated watershed modeling of the midstream and downstream of Sungai Perak River Basin. So the objective and scope of the study. The Sungai Perak River Basin, as you know, is covering 70% of Perak State and one of the big river basin in Malaysia. And we want to model using get flows for sand transport, sedimentation, and addition to ordinary hydrologic runoff groundwater simulation. So scope of the study for this webinar, we'll go into step 1 only. So establish integrated watershed model in target area of Perak watershed using integrated surface, subsurface, fully coupled hydrologic simulation system get flows. Okay, and then in here we collect and compile information, construct watershed model, calibrate watershed model, and case study. We also do water quality and sediment transport in this study. But now we go to step 1 first. Okay, so this is the target area. This is the whole Perak River Basin. 15,000 kilometers squared, but our study area is about 1,500 kilometers squared. This red color. So this red color is just downstream of Cenderoh Dam to Kampung Gajah, and then from Kampung Gajah to the river mouth in Teluk Intan. So these two are different. This is for hydrologic modeling. This is for sand transport modeling. Sedimentation modeling. So the basic data, okay, the basic data which describe the shape and structure of the target field. Okay, first is topography. It's open source using ALOS 30 JAXA, a Japanese astronology. River networks. River networks manually we do cross section, traces of mainstream and tributaries. We converted in KMZ. Riverbed elevation from the river survey, Land use, convert to raster data or text with location. And geology, we use geological map, published papers through internet. For transient field data regarding hydrologic observation and human activity, rainfall, we have a list of location, actual data of rainfall station, meteorological data, temperature, humidity, etc. Stream flow, water level, observation list, station list, observe records. Cendera discharge, we have in PDF. Water use along river, quantity and quality at intake points. These are some from LAP, Lembaga Air Perak. So next we go to the basic static data. So basic static data, firstly we go to geological map. This blue color is our study area. So in hydrological modeling, surface or subsurface calorimeter, we usually analyze geological aspect in grading and estimating hydraulic parameters, especially when the groundwater resources are the main target. This area locates of the geological consists of granitoids and alluvial deposits derived from granitoids. In the model, we don't consider local geological of this area, but we take into account integrating sand problems. Okay. So this is an aerial view of field information. Aerial view of the target area with location, rainfall, stream flow, and water level, traces of mainstream and tributary visual on ALOS 30. So the red color is the stream flow or the water level station. The blue color is the rainfall station. The construction of 3D hydrologic modeling. Grading strategy. SGAP flow is a fully physical terrain hydrological circulation model. Mainstream and main tributaries are considered using adaptive grid system. Considering further use and portability in research on PC, the size of grid system is set under 500,000 blocks because mostly we run on laptop. But it can be done more than that if using HPC or desktop. Because for example, this area for we need to run about 4 days computing time. Okay, firstly, DM in this area, like DM is not available. So we have ALOS 30 of JASA was used for making horizontal grid system using GIS and peripheral utilities. Next, trace lines for river network provided by Nahrim. The trace lines, including mainstream, tributaries, and artificial channels, were used. Of course, we noticed the trace line often deviate from the real line and run strange location if seen in satellite image by Google Earth. So how to discretize the area? The GAPFlow uses a structural grid system in regular mesh and flexibly skewed grid system fitted with channel by controlling skewness of grid. So the following processes were repeatedly adapted in making proper grid system. So firstly, draw baseline on GIS using GIS function, then make refine mesh by mathematical method. Then next step is take river information regarding river level, elevation points, and then do correction of elevation of rivers, lakes, and other facilities, and then start with vertical layering with utility over and over again. So basically, we have three layers: atmosphere, topographic, and ground surface. So how to describe the area horizontally? For example, this is the ALOS 30, and then this blue line is the river Sungai Perak. Sungai Perak main river. These are the tributaries. Above this is the Cenderoh Dam. So we do for big box 4 lines, and then we start to trace the main river. Okay, as like this. Okay, and then we it depends on the user. If you want to, let's say, to look into detail in this targeted area, you can do a lot of mesh here, and then it will give more detailed result. Then we use mathematical method. We will interpolate it, but we have to check if there is any error or whatnot. Okay, so where this is the first layer, the horizontal layer, topographic layer, about 73 by 331. This is on Kashmir Alos 3D. Okay, this is a whole river Perak River Basin. So we only model 10% of it. So this is what I mean in vertical layering. So gate flows in treats of the effect of atmospheric pressure above ground surface, river surface flow on the surface, and subsurface of 3D saturated or unsaturated flow. So this is the layer. Atmospheric is one layer. This is the topographic, surface and river water flow. And then
Dr. Rashid.
Yes.
Dr. Rashid, ada berapa slide lagi?
Ada lagi 20.
Oh, okey. Kita bagi masa sikit lagi Dr. Rashid ya.
Okay.
Boleh, silakan.
Okay. So for vertical layering, conceptual view, this is the digitized meshes look like the atmospheric, surface flow, soil layer. This is the ground surface and subsurface. Okay. So this is the view of the complete 3D grid system with vertical layering. Consists of 459,097 mesh block. So near to 500,000. So this is a view from upstream. This is a view from the midstream. We have to do model performance check. So model performance checks. The target area of the Perak watershed whose node boundary is open for flow in Perak River. For the data in this boundary, we have one surface water level station on upstream, and then we have 3 rainfall station in the downstream. But if we have another water level station downstream, it will be very good. So this is an open watershed because you can see it's in a basin. Okay. So for availability hydrologic data in this area, we have 3 rainfall stations. This is red, blue, and green. And this is the one stream flow station that we have in this area. So the stream flow we have from 1960, but the rainfall station we have from 1970. So we look into detail which area, which year we have we want to do the performance checks, and we see about 2008 is the most completed data. Only one missing data. So we zoom out, and then this is the rainfall for 3 places, and then this is the surface flow for 2008. So this is the boundary for the northern boundary. So we assume the QB equal to Q boundary because it's near. So this is will be the input of the boundary of the case study. And then we use Thiessen polygon. We have 3 rainfall station. Okay. And then hydraulic parameters of performance checks as follows. Parameters for atmospheric layer, parameters for surface layer as follows. This is the distribution of land use. Distribution land use in this red color is the study. They have 12 types of land use in 50 meter resolution.
Dr. Rashid,
Okay.
Dr. Rashid. Dr. Rashid berada di masa kecederaan 3 minit, Dr. Rashid.
Okay.
Sambung sikit lagi.
Alright. Okay. Model performance checks is important because we want it's around here. Okay. We to set up a model, good model, we have to do equilibration under constant rainfall first, and then we do transient rainfall, and then to check with the observed data, and then do the calibration period, and then we know the prediction stage. Okay, so this is the condition when it's fully saturated, and then and over the time it will be the high part will be dry because decreasing of groundwater level, and the river flow automated are formed, and gushing up of groundwater are seen also. Okay, so this is the change. This for performance checks under variable flow in and rainfall. The red color is a Q flow out. Blue color is Q flow out with no rain. That one is with rain, and then the blue is the black is Q flow in. Okay. So an area water balance is also possible. For example, flow Q in plus Q rain equal to Q flow out plus Q evaporation. So it can be done in this, can be gathered from this study also. So this is a view of 3D graphic at around 300 days. This is during the rainfall. Okay. So next is just a glimpse. This is sand transport simulation, the downstream model. Okay, because Great Force can
Dr.
deal
Rashid,
with.
Dr. Rashid, slide nombor berapa sekarang?
Nak habis dah.
Habis dah tapi dekat page ni slide 54 lagi
Dia lambat dekat internet.
Oh, okay.
So constructed horizontal grid system for downstream area is like the circle one. Okay. Ke dia dah tak bergerak ke?
Dia tak bergerak, Rashid. Masih dekat
daripada
vertical
tadi?
layering punya page. Slide 54. Dekat vertical layering ni. Cuba share balik lah kot. Ada technical error sikit. Share semula ya.
Dah share dah.
Okay, processing yep. Dekat River Mandarin ni.
Okay.
Slideshow, Rashid.
Slideshow. Itulah. Dia delay.
Delay
So, itu sajalah.
Okay.
Dah habis dah.
Habis. Alright. Okey, Dr. Rashid, terima kasih banyak-banyak dengan persembahan yang begitu padat, berisi dan jelas tadi ya. So kita selesai dengan Dr. Rashid. Untuk makluman para peserta webinar Nahrim, saya mohon ampun dan maaf di peringkat awalan tadi kita berlaku sedikit connection yang tak begitu baik. Jadi saya mohon ampun dan maaf dengan berlakunya kekeliruan ataupun connection yang tidak begitu baik tadi. Tapi Dr. Rashid telah cerita banyak. Dan saya fikir tak berapa cantik lah tuan-tuan dan puan-puan kalau saya tak kenalkan Dr. Rashid ni sebenarnya. Ianya berada dalam saya punya perancangan untuk pengenalan beliau. Ya. Saya mohon untuk memperkenalkan beliau walaupun terlambat, tapi tak apa, tuan-tuan boleh berkenal dengan Dr. Rashid juga ya. Dr. Rashid ni atau kami kenali sebagai Dr. Rashid merupakan anak kelahiran Kuala Lumpur, pemegang ijazah sarjana muda kepujian kejuruteraan awam dari Universiti Sains Malaysia, dan kemudiannya menyambung pengajian pasca siswaza masters dan juga PhD juga di universiti yang sama dalam bidang stormwater management. DNA USM Dr. Rashid ni cukup likat dan pekat ya. Selepas tahap pengajian, beliau berkhidmat sebagai pensyarah kanan di Universiti Tenaga Nasional selama 3 tahun sebelum menjadi pegawai penyidik di Nahrim bermula pada 2014
letak kat ujung tu
sehingga kini. Sepanjang berada di Nahrim, beliau banyak terlibat dalam projek penyelidikan, perundingan, pembangunan produk inovasi selain telah menerbitkan beberapa jurnal dan dalam penerbitan-penerbitan yang berindeks. Perlibatan beliau dalam produk inovasi juga amat cemerlang dan telah meraih banyak anugerah di peringkat kebangsaan maupun antarabangsa. Bidang kepakaran beliau adalah menjalankan pemodelan hidrologi dan hidrodinamik sungai serta mahir menggunakan perisian-perisian seperti HEC-RAS, HEC-HMS, WIP dan juga GET flows ya. Okey tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, para peserta yang saya amat sanjung tinggi, saya terdapat beberapa soalan kat sini yang kita nak ajukan kepada Dr. Rashid. Saya mulakan dengan soalan yang pertama. Soalan yang pertama daripada Dr. Muhammad Azrai, UTHM. Bolehkah GET flow menggunakan equation surface runoff selain dari diffusive wave equation? Silakan Dr. Rashid.
Dia possible untuk boleh menggunakan selain pada tu, bergantung pada condition kawasan tu. Memang ada case yang kita menggunakan yang lain. Sebab tu bila kita menggunakan open source, this kind of simulation is tailor-made, it's not rigid. Terima kasih.
Okey, terima kasih Rashid. Harap kita menjawab soalan daripada Dr. Azrai tadi tu. Soalan yang keduanya daripada Tuan TS Haji Zubaidi Johor yang bertanyakan tentang ada tak perbandingan ketepatan output model berbanding model yang lain? Dr. Rashid?
Okey. Untuk GET flows, bila kita buat dia punya validation, dia tidak deviate jauh daripada yang sebenar. Jadinya bila kita nak calibrate dia, kita tak perlu banyak parameter yang kita ubah. Jadi dia dah mimik lebih kurang yang sebenar di tapak. Dan GET flows sahaja yang mengambil kira 3 boundary, iaitu atmosphere, topo dan groundwater untuk dimodelkan. Whereas macam HEC-RAS dia menggunakan satu condition saja ataupun 2 condition saja. Terima kasih.
Alright, terima kasih Dr. Rashid. Soalan yang ketiga. Soalan yang ketiga daripada Dr. Zul ni, daripada Unimap. Assalamualaikum and good morning. How to get flows rasanya. Soalannya, how to get flows. Is it open source or licensed software? Dr. Rashid, silakan.
Dia adalah license software, tapi doktor atau tuan-tuan boleh rujuk terus kepada websitenya dan boleh terus tanya kepada Tosaka Sensei, developer itself. Kalau mungkin daripada universiti, dia boleh bagi wave ke macam tu lah. Sebab dia dibangunkan bersama universiti separuh, and then dia setengah jalan tu dia jadi corporate. So kita ada experience before bersama dengan USM. Kita ada yang boleh dapat free, ada yang macam kita Nahrim kita kena bayar lah. So terima kasih.
Alright, terima kasih Dr. Rashid. Okey, mungkin boleh pergi satu soalan ekstra dekat sini. Berdasarkan Dr. Rashid punya pengalaman menggunakan software seperti Hackras dan lain-lain, your personal view tentang limitation dan juga kebolehupayaan GetFlows ni sendiri untuk diguna pakai di Malaysia. Silakan Rashid.
Saya kira GetFlows ni adalah satu tahap yang lain. Dia menggabungkan the whole hydrological cycle, di mana sebelum ni kita cuba melalui Hackras tu kita buat dengan HMS, dengan Hackwatt, and then a few model, and then baru kita nak dapatkan the whole cycle, water cycle. GetFlows pula dia satu dan dia dah complement semua. And then in terms of computation time, macam kalau kita pakai Hackras mungkin kita perlu masa yang lama, ataupun pakai GetFlows kita boleh buat parallel computing, and with that kita boleh run satu regional. Maknanya kalau macam Hackras mungkin terhad. Jadi dari segi kita researcher, kita banyak nak niche different area. So tak semua nak yang satu sahaja. Jadinya dengan GetFlows ni dia suit kepada user. So ada yang nak kepada sedimen transport saja, so dia venture, ataupun dia boleh check the detail of the in that area, and serupa jugalah macam area-area yang lain. Jadi saya rasa satu model yang akan menjadi fenomena lah, sebabkan dia iaitu Tosaka Sensei telah modelkan the whole of Japan, and then dia dah dapat banyak dan bantu kepada negara dia dalam identify pelbagai masalah lah. Contoh paling diorang nak ialah aquifer, and then untuk penanam apa nama tu yang seaweed, so itu sangat penting untuk diorang. Okay, terima kasih.
Okey, terima kasih Rashid. Penjelasan yang cukup mantap, cukup jelas kat situ, dan saya fikir rakan-rakan di talian mendapat jawapan daripada Dr. Rashid tadi tu, menepati kepada soalan doktor, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan. Walau bagaimanapun, sekiranya jawapan yang perlukan penjelasan lebih lanjut, ataupun ingin tiba-tiba ada soalan yang ingin diajukan, telefon tuan-tuan, doktor boleh majukan ke email di Nahrim ya, webmaster di Nahrim, untuk kami lihat, dan insyaAllah kami akan jawab dengan secepat yang mungkin, dengan jelas dan memenuhi kehendak seperti mana yang tuan-tuan hasratkan. Kita berada di penghujung rancangan ya. Kami di Nahrim, sekali lagi saya Safari bin Mak Desa tadi tak sempat nak kenalkan diri sebab connection internet tak begitu cantik ya. Saya mohon maaf bagi pihak Nahrim, di pihak rakan-rakan kami di technical crew, semoga majlis ataupun webinar kita ini memberi manfaat kepada semua pendengar di luar sana. Terima kasih kepada pendengar yang sudi bersama-sama dengan kami, dan akhir kata sekali lagi ampun dan maaf dipinta kepada penceramah dan juga kepada semua kru-kru yang terlibat sepanjang berlangsungnya webinar ini. Terima kasih dan salam hormat. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Terima kasih semua.
Terima kasih semua.